I just got home from work and I am hungry. I am going to make a cashew chicken stir fry, but instead of chicken, I'm going to use tofu. And I think I can get this dinner done in about 20 minutes. Let's see if I can. First things first, I'm going to get my toaster oven preheating so I can get my tofu cooked. But the thing that takes the longest to cook is probably going to be the rice. So I am using an instant brown rice today because I do want to stay whole food if possible. And I can get this cooked in about 15 minutes. So let's put 1 cup of water, and then we'll get that boiling, and then we'll add the rice. I'm going to get my rice in my cup so it's ready to go. Ugh, this is a little messy, but it's okay. I'm going to set this over beside the pan so I can dump it in as soon as I can. So now let's get started with the protein. I'm using tofu today, but if you don't like tofu or you think you don't like tofu, you can always use something like soy curls. Soy curls is a 1-ingredient meat substitute that's just made from soybeans. It's very high in protein and it's very tasty and has a great texture. You can order that online, and I'll put a link in the description box below where you can get it. But today I'm using extra firm tofu. This is Costco tofu, and I love it because it's extra firm, if that makes any sense. It doesn't require any pressing or anything like that. So let's just open our package and drain out the water. If you're new to working with tofu, there are different types of tofu. There's the firm, the extra firm, and the super firm. I like to use this extra firm tofu for things like stir fry because it has a good texture and you don't really need to press it that much unless you have a extra firm tofu that's super wet. I like to tear my tofu into chunks like this. I think it looks more natural and it's more appetizing. A lot of people are afraid of tofu, or they have tried tofu and it's been bad before. And so if you serve it to them in cubes, they're going to know exactly what they're getting, and they're going to already have preconceived ideas that they don't like it. So go ahead and tear it into chunks, because a lot of people eat with their eyes and they decide if they like something just by the way it looks. I'm about done here. I like to have some pieces that are larger and some that are smaller. Again, it looks more natural. And then to my tofu, I just want to add some cornstarch. This is going to give it a crispiness. I'm also going to add some Bragg's liquid aminos for a little bit of saltiness. If you don't have Bragg's liquid aminos, you can always use low sodium soy sauce. And then to that, we're going to put in just a little bit of oil, and we're going to mix this up and make sure it's all coated. And then I'm going to spread this on my parchment lined pan. I like to use a parchment lined pan because I do not like scrubbing pans. You're going to want to spread your tofu out on a sheet pan. You can do it in your toaster oven if you're doing a small amount, or your air fryer, or you can do it in an oven. If you're doing a big batch, if you have a big family, you can do it on a big sheet tray in the oven. And while that's cooking, you can get everything else cooked. And we are going to put that into the toaster oven, get cooking. The water is boiling for our rice, so let's go ahead and dump the rice in and put the lid on, and we can turn the heat down on that and let that cook for about 10 minutes while our tofu is cooking. So now we're going to get started on the vegetables. You know I love to get some vegetables chopped up on Sundays, and this is going to come in handy for this dinner. I'm going to go ahead and drop in some onions and some peppers. I'm going to get those cooking. You don't need to add any oil when you saute your vegetables. You can simply do what they call sweating your vegetables, which simply means you get your vegetables cooking in your pan, get the pan nice and hot, and then every once in a while you put in a tablespoon or 2 of water, and that will evaporate very quickly and steam your vegetables and get them cooked even more quickly than sauteing. You don't need the extra oil. It's really helpful if you have a nonstick pan like this Tefal pan, which I really like. We do have oil in the tofu we just added, and I'm going to add some sesame oil later in the sauce, so we don't need any oil here. So once our onions and peppers are cooked, we're going to go ahead and add in some broccoli and cauliflower, which I also have chopped from Sunday. If you don't have broccoli and cauliflower already chopped up, that's no problem. You can always use frozen vegetables, or even a bag of frozen stir-fry vegetables work here really well. I'm also going to add in these frozen edamames. Edamames are just green soybeans, and they're super high in protein, and they're really good for you, so I'm going to add in those here. And then I'm going to add in some garlic. I'm using a jarred garlic again today because it's super easy and fast. So let's get started with our sauce. This is a very simplified sauce. It doesn't call for any ingredients from any Asian markets. You can get everything you need from your local grocery store. Let's start with a 1/4 cup of the Bragg's liquid aminos or low sodium soy sauce. Then we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of this dark sesame oil. This really gives a lot of that flavor that you're looking for, that restaurant kind of flavor. And here's the tip of the day. If you use the same spoon for your honey that you use your sesame oil, the honey will slide right out of that spoon and you won't have to deal with the stickiness of the honey. Hey, while we're waiting for this honey to come out of the jar, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. You can do a tablespoon or 2 of rice vinegar. If you want to replace that with something like lemon juice, you can do that, but the rice vinegar gives it more of an authentic Asian flavor. I'm going to add some of this Asian garlic chili sauce. I'm going to do about a 1/2 tablespoon. It gives a little bit of spice. If you are really a spice head, you want to do lots of spice, you can put in a tablespoon. And then I'm going to put in some ginger. So here's another tip of the day. Ground ginger does not have the flavor that fresh ginger has, but having fresh ginger on hand is almost nearly impossible because you never know when you're going to need it. So here's what I like to do. I like to buy a big knob of ginger and I go ahead and peel it, but I keep it in the freezer. Let me show you. This ginger is frozen, so it's going to be easy to add to my sauce. I'm going to just take this out and I'm going to grate it into my sauce. And you can do as much or as little as you want. You can pop it back in the freezer and you don't have to worry about those fibrous edges of the ginger, and it's such a great way to store your ginger. Now, there's another option too. There's also tube ginger like this, and this will make sure that you always have that good fresh ginger taste without having to use the powdered ginger. Okay, our sauce is done. Our veggies are cooked. Let's give them a stir. Flip the tofu so it gets all cooked on all sides. The rice is done, the veggies are done. There's one more thing I need to do before I put it all together, and I want to get these cashews just a little more toasty. I do have roasted cashews here, but I am going to dump them on top of my tofu and put them back in the oven for about 5 more minutes to get them nice and toasty. You're going to notice that your tofu is getting kind of hard and outside, and that's okay because we're going to put that tofu into the sauce. It's going to suck up all that juice and flavor from the sauce. It's going to be so good. I know you're going to love this recipe. While my cashews are toasting, I remember an ingredient I forgot in my sauce. I wanted to put in a cup of no chicken broth so it's really nice and juicy. What I'm going to do is add a tablespoon or so of cornstarch to my no chicken broth so that my sauce thickens up, but I don't have to wait for it to reduce to thicken. That makes my dinner get done a lot quicker. Okay, the rice is all cooked. I want to give it a stir, give it a little fluff, and then I'm going to put the lid on it and set it aside so that it can stay warm until we're ready to eat. Now I'm adding in our crispy and crunchy tofu right into the vegetables, and I'm going to top that with the sauce that we made along with the no chicken and cornstarch mixture, and we just want to bring that to a boil and let it cook for about a minute, and so it'll get nice and thick and make a delicious sauce to go on our rice. This looks so good. I can't wait for supper. I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of this hoisin sauce. This is vegetarian hoisin sauce that you can get at any grocery store in the Asian aisle. And it's done. This looks fantastic. I've got a whole big batch here. I'm going to have enough for lunch tomorrow. This is a lot cheaper, faster, and healthier than going to any takeout. That is so good. It's such a satisfying dinner after a long day at work. Only took 20 minutes to cook. Tofu texture is amazing. Nobody's even going to know that's tofu. It's got a little bit of spice to it, lots of veggies, full of protein. If you need some more healthy, whole grain, plant-based recipes, then check out my playlist right here. This is so good.